Hello everybody, Brendan from World of Bikes here and welcome to another video. So today we're going to do a quick review on the Honda Africa Twin, with this specific model being known as the XRV750. I believe they were made from 1989 all the way up to 2003, and within those model years they go through numerous changes in terms of fairing, exhaust, as well as revisions to the frame, an addition of a flash plate, as well as some tuning modifications which were also made, but nothing too serious. So the one in question that we ride today is a 1999 model, which means it was the last of the series known as the RD07A. So within the RD07A came a 742cc liquid cooled 52 degree V-twin. Now this motorcycle makes 62 horsepower at 7500 RPM and 62 Newton meters of torque. The suspension consists of a 43mm shower fork in the front with 220mm of travel, and the rear has a ProLink monoshock with 214mm of travel. Then moving on to the front brakes, we've got twin front discs that are 276mm and a rear disc of 256mm. In the front, the motorcycle received two twin piston brakes as well as a single piston in the rear. The wheelbase of this motorcycle works out to about 1,565mm or 61.6 inches. A seat height with 860mm or 33.9 inches, and a dry weight of 207 kilograms or a wet weight of 218 kilograms. That's with all your fluids intact. Fuel capacity wise, this motorcycle is on the bigger side with a 23 litre fuel tank or 6.1 gallons, as well as a 5.1 litre reserve or 1.35 gallon reserve. Another average fuel consumption on this model works out to roughly 16.5 kilometers per litre, which isn't bad considering it is a carbureted model. With that being said, they have two 35mm flat side carbs in it, and then rounding off the specs with a standing quarter mile of 13.1 seconds, and it goes from 100 kilometers per hour to a complete standstill in 40.7 meters, and finally a top speed of 181.8 kilometers per hour or 112 miles per hour. Now moving on to some history on the Africa Twins. The 750 was built in homage to the Great Desert Races of the 1980s, namely the XRV650. Those motorcycles were well known for the 4 total wins at the Paris-Dakar Rally. Unfortunately, the XRV750 would not see a lot of racing, as Honda had introduced the NXR platform, which was more a race-built bike by Honda, specifically by HRC, known as the Honda Racing Corporation. This doesn't take away anything from this motorcycle itself, as it was still built with racing in mind. With that being said, a lot of people would then start focusing on comfort and worrying about certain aspects, such as how easy it is to ride, as well as how comfortable and how long you would be able to ride it for. This was one of the later on modifications that were made to the bike by Honda to make it more rideable and to give it a better seating position. That actually changed the seat cover on this motorcycle to make it more comfortable and more grippy, so the rider can stay put easier. However, some of the homage from the 650 did stay intact on the Africa Twin 750, with a big flash plate that is found on the motorcycle being driven back from the Dakar, as well as twin headlights, and the motorcycle also ended up receiving a GPS mount on top of the tachometer. So after a brief history lesson, let me give you guys my opinion on the motorcycle. So firstly, the motorcycle had a revision on the exhaust canister in the mid-1990s. I believe it was 94 or 95 that they did a complete revise of it. This motorcycle in particular, however, has a Cowley exhaust slip-on, and I must admit it sounds absolutely amazing. I'm sure you guys can hear from the clips while the bike is riding just how good and how smooth it sounds. All round, it's an amazing sound, and I really cannot add more to it. What I enjoy a lot about it is people tend to hear you coming, which I'm particularly a big fan of, because I'd rather have people hear me coming first before they see me. I think from a safety aspect that means a lot. Moving on to the engine, I think it's an extremely smooth V-twin, and it definitely will punish you if you try and rip on it hard coming out of a corner. The motorcycle does have Michelin Anarchy front and rear tires, which are well known for their grip, but the rear tire will break loose inevitably if you do try and jam the throttle as you come out of a corner. So please don't be shocked if you ever find yourself riding one and having that rear slip. if you're going to get on the accelerator hard after a corner. Following on that, as the comfort of the motorcycle, I personally put on about 300 kilometers on it because I really wanted to try and find out as much information as I could about it. And within that, I definitely did find that it is very comfortable. The ride seat adjustments that we spoke about earlier definitely did come in play, and I was a bit worried as the texture of the seat is not something that you really see on motorcycles, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised by it. Just putting things like your helmet on it, normally if you put your helmet on a bike and the side stand is out, the helmet will slip off and fall. However, this helmet sits very comfortably and you can basically use it as a shelf if you'd really like. Coming down to rideability, I think it is a very easy motorcycle to ride, and it is not extremely punishing even if you are a new rider. I don't think that if you're going to abuse the power, it's going to absolutely punish you because it only has 62 horsepower. Now looking at your normal beginner motorcycles, they normally cruise around the 30 to 40 horsepower figures, but I definitely don't think it's going to be the end of the world, especially if you are a bigger person that's going to ride this motorcycle. It's definitely going to be enough power to get you going, and more than enough for freeway riding at speed limits. Then going on and talking about the brakes in particular, and I really wanted to highlight this. At no point while I was riding this motorcycle on open roads in the city, or whether it was similar to the video where it's just a little bit more spirited riding, I really never had an issue with the brakes. I could always get on the brakes and I could always trust them. And most importantly, I knew that I could get the bike to stop at a point where it needed to. It definitely made the bike a lot more comfortable, and it puts you a lot more at ease knowing you can stop well. Now this is something that while Honda is well known for, and of course the brakes are exceptionally good. Looking all the way back at Honda's CBR600 review we did a while back, I believe it's even more than a year now, it's always been a very, very trustworthy experience. It's just phenomenal brakes from Honda, and what can I say? Those Nisfin calipers are just exceptionally good. It has amazing fuel economy wise on it, as the stats say 16.5 kilometers per litre, however I on average got about 16.4. Now obviously that will vary from person to person and how you ride it, and mine was a combination of open road as well as inner city commuting. I really never thought of it as using too much fuel, and I only believe I refilled once in my 300 kilometers that I did on it. Now the 23 litre fuel tank definitely is a breeze because you don't have to stop and refuel as much as you think. The additional weight that the bike gets when fueling up the tank is actually quite nice. It slows down the bike a little bit in terms of handling, so it's not as nippy, and it handles that additional weight exceptionally well. Now with this being a 99 model, I don't have my general complaints as I do on the normal motorcycles in terms of where's the digital tachometer, what's happening with the ABS system, and all of the new quirks we've obviously known to have issues with, or what we expect to see on a motorcycle. Now these weren't really implemented back in 1999, and I think for the amount of money you're going to spend on this motorcycle, you're getting quite a hell of a lot of motorcycle. These things are well known to be dead reliable, and particularly this motorcycle has 86,000 kilometers on, which I believe is around 45 to 50,000 miles. And it's still a very, very good bike. I wouldn't say that it rides exactly like it came off the showroom floor, but suspension wise and how responsive the engine is for its age, it definitely still holds up. It's not far away from showroom condition in terms of mechanical. However, I do think that the cosmetics of the bike could be a little bit more revised. It definitely still holds its own to your later 2000s adventure motorcycles such as the XRV750, which we recently did a review on, as well as stuff like the BMW F800. Surprisingly, it did remind me a lot of the BMW, the F800 GS, in terms of its normal linear power band, which is something I've come to know and love, and this one definitely has enough power. I do feel it's significantly quicker than the XRV650. As well, it has good brakes, similar to the BMW, but absolutely the opposite of the KLR. I think it's a phenomenal motorcycle, and I've never had any issues that I can really speak of. It's a chain-driven motorcycle, which makes it very easy to maintain, and oil changes on these things are really easy to do. There's really very little that I can say wrong with a bike like this, even though it is old. It's an old-school bike that works exactly the way you expect it to, and will continue working exactly the way you expect it to. And now I'm pretty sure this is a little bit of a shorter review to what we normally do, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me babbling on about it and enjoyed the sound of the motorcycle. So please, if you made it this far and you find yourself coming back, click that subscribe button, give us a like, and just an open challenge to all of our viewers: if you can pop a comment on any of my videos and I don't like it or reply within 48 hours, I'm going to send you a World of Bike shirt on me, completely free of charge. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. It's always appreciated.